What's up YouTube, and how's it going today? Want to welcome you guys all back to another video on the Evolved Jeeping YouTube channel. Today's video is actually a continuation or an addition to the Rearview Mirror Dashcam mini series that we started posting about 2 years ago. On that mini series, if you're not familiar about it, basically what I've been doing is reviewing Rearview Mirror Dashcam systems to find the best system to run on my Jeep Wrangler. I've been creating these videos basically just to share my findings with all of you guys to make it easier to decide which unit you should be buying for yourself. I actually haven't posted on this mini series in quite some time, mainly due to the fact that I really haven't had the opportunity to get my hands on any of the new devices out there. But today I do have a new one to show you, which is actually from Pelsee. This is the Pelsee P12 Pro Max. This is Pelsee's newest rear view mirror dashcam system. It is also probably their flagship system at this time, because not only is this system their highest price point system, but it is also their most feature-packed system, which also includes some unique features that are exclusively only available through Pelsee. If you've been following along the channel, you would actually know that I did previously review a Pelsee rear view mirror dashcam system, and that was their latest one, which was the P12 Plus. If you have not seen that video, make sure to click the video right here, because in that video, I went through and gave you a full review of that system, showed you all its features and functions, and give you guys my overall thoughts and opinions about that system. And to be honest, I actually love that system. I ended up running that system for probably more than 6 months. And that was mainly due to the fact that that system was one of the best systems that I've tried out to that point. But I did end up taking that system out because I ended up replacing it with the ASDAM PG17 Pro. If you have not seen that video, make sure to click on the link right here, because in that video, I explain exactly why I ended up switching it out. And that was mainly due to the fact that the ASDAM PG17 Pro was actually a system that featured a 2K resolution rear camera, where the P12 Plus did not. And that was one of my biggest downfalls with the Pelsee P12 Plus, was that the rear camera had a little bit less resolution and didn't handle nighttime vision that well, where the ASDAM, after testing out with the 2K resolution rear camera, did exactly what I needed. So that is currently the system I'm running today. But I do want to mention, guys, that the P12 Plus was also probably a lower price point item than the ASDAM P1217 Pro. They are different categories, and Pelsee at the time didn't offer anything that was in the same category until this unit. This unit is designed to compete against the PG17 Pro, as well as the Wolf Box. I think it's the G900X. This is basically the unit that is supposed to compete at that price point, and it's supposed to be much better. So can't wait to try this out. What we are going to do, like we've done in all of these videos, is we're going to go ahead and install this. But for this installation, it's actually going to be a full installation where I'm going to show you exactly how to install it on a Jeep Wrangler. And the reason is because this system actually has some unique cords. So I'm going to have to rerun all the cords. So that is why you're going to see the full installation in today's video. After we finish the installation, we will go ahead and go through all the features and functionality that this has to offer. This will probably be a little bit of a long video because, like the previous Pelsee product, I'm sure this one is going to have a lot of features that we're going to have to go through and show you. After we've done that, we'll then go ahead and show you the image resolution of both the front and the rear camera in both the day and the night, because that is an important step to knowing these systems. And of course, to wrap this video up, after we've gone through the installation, the features, and the image quality, we will wrap it up by giving you guys my overall thoughts and opinions of how this system performs and if it is worth going with the new Pelsee P12 Pro Max. So before we unbox this, let's just take a look at the packaging. So Pelsee is one of the brands that offers a professional packaging for the product. They're not just simply putting this in a standard brown box. They're actually going ahead and putting full color printed information on the outside. This is good because if you're a consumer and you order this online and you get it, you know exactly what you've received based on what's on the outside. And if you're a retailer who's putting Pelsee or thinking about putting Pelsee on the shelf, their packaging is a perfect solution for that, because if you put this on the shelf, it shows exactly what's inside of it. It has some standard information on it, and it just makes it easier for the customer to know what they're going to be purchasing. So Pelsee here has done their standard navy blue packaging. It's a really high quality look. I really like the appearance of it. It definitely stands out on the shelf. They have their logo up here at the top. They have the name of the product right there. Again, this is the P12 Pro Max. Here they have a full color printed image of it, which is kind of in a gloss finish print. It shows the front of it and the back of it. They also have a call out here, which is Bluetooth wireless connection. So that is a call out for that. They then listed out 3 of the main features, which are pretty much their main features that they kind of highlight on this product. First is it's a 12-inch. Second is it's a 4K plus 2K resolution. And then the last one is that they offer the collision detection, which we've actually tested out on a previous Pelsee model, and I can't wait to see how it's different in this one. On the sides, nothing crazy, just their logos like that. And then on the back, we've got just the general manufacturing information that they need for all the different countries. So let's go ahead and open this up. So it is a sleeve that's simply on top of a box. We're just going to slide that off and throw that away. We don't need that right now. Then we're going to open up the box. It is just a top clamshell box. So you just open up there, take that out, spin that around so you guys can see it. And we've got our standard, dash cam mirror system display that they typically do. It's got the foam ring. It's got the mirror facing like that. It's a nice, really open, I like the look of this when they open it up. We're going to take out the mirror to take a look at this. It's in this bag here. Okay, so we've got our mirror right here. Overall, looks very similar to some of their other systems out here. It's pretty lightweight, which I really like. It does have a screen protector on it right now, a screen film, sorry, and you do peel that off before installing it. Just some simple information here, some callouts, their logo. On the side here, let's show you all the plugins. We've got our... In here, we've got, these are a little different. So we've got our Type-C plug-in there, which is the power connection. Here we've got our GPS antenna plug-in right there. Then we've got our micro SD, and then we've got another USB-C port. I think this one is actually going to be for the camera, so it is going to use a different wire for this system. That's intriguing because what that probably means is that wire is actually going to be able to transfer a lot more information. So it's going to be a really cool to see how much different this system really is. On the bottom side, we have our power button in the middle and then 2 microphones. On the back here, we have our camera with the adjustable lens. We have a nice Pelsee logo here, some standard stickers you need, and then we've got our tie-in connection points for strapping this mirror onto a factory mirror. Or a screen onto a factory mirror. Yeah, overall, really nice looking product. Let's just put that aside. And let's take a look at all the other wires that come with this. So, first one we're going to take a look at and open up, because I want to see this in person and up close, is the camera. So, for this camera, they are using the upgraded Sony camera, and this is what we've got here. So it's a little bit bigger than what I've seen before, which is a good sign because it means that we're probably going to be able to get some high resolution images out of the back, and it's going to be able to handle the rear images at night. We've got our disconnect here. So if you're running the wire throughout your vehicle, you can simply disconnect it and then reconnect it when needed. And we've got our cord here. As mentioned, it is using a micro or a USB-C plug-in. So it's going to be different. I like this, but it also means that I'm going to have to rerun this wire throughout the vehicle. So that is going to be a lot of fun to do. I was hoping that I could just reuse the same one, but I'm going to have to run this new wire. We've also got a red wire mixed in here. This is probably to trigger the reverse camera settings. Yes, so we got the cord here. This is basically designed to tap into your reverse lights so that when you go into reverse, it will trigger the reverse system to engage on the screen. So we've got that here. Then we've got just some extra hardware here, which is 2 screws and a pad to assemble it. Oh, I do want to mention that it does have the piece on the back here to connect it to wherever you're, or to attach it in the right place. Then we've got another cord here. So this cord is, this is our main power plug right here, which is actually really interesting because it is actually not a DC adapter. What it is, well, I can't find it here. Oh, actually, it looks like this is, yeah, this is the cord right here. So this is the plug-in. It is actually designed to plug into your OBD sensor. So you're basically under your dash, you simply plug that. Really easy installation. So I'm definitely gonna have to show you guys how to install that. And I'm assuming this is just a power box to translate that information. One end is a USB-C plug-in. So that's interesting. So very different system we have here. Next we have our standard, yeah, looks like a standard GPS antenna system. So your plug-in and your GPS there with the stick-on pad at the back side. Oh, then we do have another option here for you, which is the power source that does plug in to the USB-C and the DC plug adapter. So this goes into like your cigarette lighter. It does have a USB port on the end, which is really nice because it turns the DC plug adapter into a dual function. And we've got cord and then USB-C on the end. So they do provide you 2 different power options for plugging this in. You have the OBD sensor one here, and then you have this one. So I'm curious to see if I need a hardwiring kit or not, or whether these are going to be the solution. So that's something I'm going to have to figure out during the installation. The last bag we have here is pretty much our accessory bag. In here we've got more screws and adapters just in case you need more of them. We've got a little pry tool like they always previously provide. We've then got 2 different sizes of elastic straps. So we've got 2 of them here. Well, actually they're all the same. So we got 4 of them just in case you lose one. And again, these are basically designed to clip onto the back of this right here. So let's clip one on to show you. And then it goes around the mirror and clips on the bottom. So this isn't in the case that you just want to simply attach it to the factory mirror. So that we got 4 of those to use. You're only gonna need 2, but they've given a few extras. And now we've got some extra things here. We've got just some warranty card here with some information. We've got the app piece here where you can download the app, so information on how to download the app. We've got another card here, which is basically give us feedback review card, so they're doing that. And then we've got our installation steps, which do show the OBD sensor. So that's interesting. So we're gonna have to read through that. And then on this side, more information about the OBD sensor cable. So that's all just about this plug right here. And of course, we've got our standard instruction manual that shows you not only how to install it, but also all to use it. So this is important. And then the last 2 pieces we have are the memory card. So it's 64 megabyte memory card. Kind of wish they would have sent 128 or 256. That would have been nice to have, but this will have to do. Maybe we'll have to use a higher one. And then we've got our microfiber cloth here that's used to clean off the mirror. So very complete kit. Really excited to see how much better this is from their previous P12 Plus and P12 Pro that we've reviewed. Also looking forward to see if this is much better than the current ASDM one that I have in the vehicle. So now let's jump over to getting this installed in the vehicle and show you guys the steps we need to do that. So the first steps of the installation are to run the wires for the system. Typically, it is easier to run the wires prior to mounting the screen onto the mirror. And the reason is because I've learned this from experience, is if you mount the mirror or the screen onto the mirror first, it tends to get in the way of running the wires, especially if you're running the wires through the upper trim panels. Having the screen on the mirror is just a little bit of a pain in the butt. So definitely recommend that you run the wires first prior to mounting the screen. For this installation, we are going to have a total of 3 wires that we are going to have to install. The first wire is going to be the power wire. And for the power wire, with this kit, we actually have 2 options to choose from. But there are actually 3 options to choose from for power sources for this. And I will tell you the third options. But first, let's take a look at the first 2 options. The first option is actually the 12-volt DC plug option. So this is the 12-volt DC plug adapter, and this is designed to plug into your 12-volt DC plug port on your dash. All you have to do is simply flip this up, slide this in, and then run the wires to the mirror. Very simple installation. One thing to note about the back of this plug, which is nice to see, is it actually provided an additional USB port in case you want to plug additional things into the back of this port. So I like the fact that they did that. I've seen some lower end brands that don't offer that, which can be a pain, especially if you're using the port to charge other devices. So nice that they included the additional USB port. One thing to note about the 12-volt DC plug adapter is that with the majority of vehicles, the 12-volt DC port is typically only powered by the ignition. And on my Jeep Wrangler, you can see that because it actually has the key indication right here, which means that this port is only powered when the ignition is on. So if you're planning on using the parking monitor system, or is what is called as the 24-hour parking monitoring that the system has to offer, you will not be able to use the 12-volt DC plug adapter. The reason is because when you turn off your vehicle, the system is going to turn off and it's not going to monitor any of the vehicle while it's parked. So this will not work if you're trying to use the parking monitor feature that's built into this. If you want to use the parking monitor system, you have to use the second cord it provided, which is the OBD plug adapter. This is designed to plug in to your OBD2 port, which is located under your steering wheel. All you have to do is plug it into the port. It has 2 pins in it, which I think you can see there. One is probably for power and the other one is for ground. On the back of it, it does have a capacitor of some kind. I don't know what that's probably doing, but it's probably changing something. And then you have a cord that you simply run up to the mirror. If you're using this, you will able to use the 24-hour parking monitor. And if you're concerned about the 24-hour parking monitoring and the fact that it might drain your battery, the one thing you have to know is that the 24-hour parking monitor only runs for 24 hours. So after 24 hours, the system will actually stop draining power from the battery and turn itself off. So you don't have to worry about the system draining your battery on your vehicle. So those are your 2 options. Typically, if I were to suggest one of the options to use, I would definitely suggest the OBD2 power support, because then you can use your 24-hour parking. Also, the reason I suggest this is because it's a little bit cleaner to run through the vehicle. You can hide the wires and not have anything visible, where if you're running the DC plug adapter, you're always going to have the port just simply hanging out here with a cord. So definitely cleaner to go with the OBD2 port. The third option, which is an option that doesn't come with the kit and you do have to purchase it by yourself, is a USB-C hardwiring kit. A hardwiring kit is basically designed to tap directly into a fuse in your fuse box and gives your system 24-hour power. Again, won't drain your battery, but it is another option. This is the option that I'm going to be using in today's video because I already have the hardwiring kit installed on my Jeep. And it's actually been the kit I've been using with all the other systems I've tested out. So that is the system I'm going to be using. But don't worry, I will show you exactly where to run the other 2 cords if you are installing them on a Jeep Wrangler. The second cord that we're going to be installing or have to install is another main one, which is our cord for the reverse camera. So you have your camera here, which is dangling down. This is going to be mounted on the back of the vehicle. You can either choose to mount it on the inside of the vehicle or on the outside. On Jeeps, sometimes people mount them on their third brake light or their spare tire. Others mount them on the license plate. For myself, I'm going to be mounting it on the inside of my cab, inside the rear window of my Skytop 1 hardtouch. I found this to be a better location just because it keeps the camera away from the elements, and I can actually use the rear view wiper to clean off the lens. So I found if you mount these outside, the lens tends to get a little bit dirty, and you actually have to manually go out there and clean it. So one little thing I've noticed about this system, so I will be mounting this on the inside of my vehicle. For the cord, you do have to run that from the back of the vehicle all the way up to the mirror. So this is why there's so much cord, because you do have to get to the back of the vehicle. One thing to note about this cord is that you can see this little red wire. This red wire is actually designed to tap into your reverse light. The reason is because it is a trigger wire that when you do go in reverse, the system will actually engage the screen to go into a reverse mode where it's going to show some reverse lines. This is very helpful in the event that you have an older vehicle that doesn't have a reverse camera built into it. For myself, I'm actually not going to be tapping that wire in because I do have a reverse camera in my screen, so I don't need to have two of them engaged. So I will not be installing this, but it's a very simple task. All you do is run it back and then go down to your third brake light, or not your third brake light, your tail lights. Take your tail lights, find the reverse light, and then simply tap into it. Very simple to do. So that is the second wire we have to run. The third wire we have to run is our GPS antenna wire. So there are a couple locations you can mount this. You can mount this on top of your roll bar in the center of your vehicle, or you can do what I've done and mount it on the top of your dash. I've found it works perfectly fine on the top of your dash, and that is exactly what I'm going to show you guys in today's video. So it's very simple. Just run this and then run this to the top of the screen. Now that you guys know what wires we need to install, the next step is to show you guys where to run the wires. My original plan for today's video, and I actually started doing this, was to film and show you guys exactly where to run the wires and to show you guys how I was doing it. But honestly, it turned out to be a little bit tedious, and I figured it was not going to be worth showing you. So what I did off camera is I actually went ahead and installed the 3 wires. And what I'm going to do now is flip the camera around and show you guys where I ran the wires and what you need to do to run your wires on a Jeep Wrangler JL. As you can see, we've got our 3 cords right here. We've got our USB-C for the rear camera. We've got our GPS plug-in, and we've got our USB-C power plug-in. This is the hardwiring wire kit that we have. And all 3 of these wires are going to run the same route to start. Basically, they're going to go up in behind the arm right here, between the arm and the panel here. You're going to go up into the upper panel, trim panel. They're then going to go across here, and they're going to go to the location right above the A-pillar. This is the, I guess, the joint location. From here, we're going to have 2 wires going down and 1 wire going back to the vehicle. We'll start with the power wire. So the power wire right now is the hard wiring kit. It's basically going to go down this A-pillar panel, then it's going to go into the dash, then we're going to go through the firewall and tap into the fuse box that is located on the passenger side. Very simple to do that. If you're planning on using the DC plug adapter, the path is going to be the same. So go across, down the A-pillar trim panel, but then instead of going through the firewall, you're actually going to go behind the dash, behind the glove box, then probably going to want to come out just around this location, because then you can come up outside the dash and plug into the plug. So that's the path you're probably going to do for the 12 volt DC plug adapter. For the OBD2 adapter, instead of going this direction, you're actually going to want to go the opposite direction. So what that means is going this way, down to the driver's side A-pillar, down the driver's side A-pillar, in through the dash, and then down into plug in underneath the dash. So pretty much the same on this side, just kind of the opposite. Things you need to know for removing some of the panels. So for this A-pillar trim panel, what you're going to do is you're going to simply pop this cover off, and in behind here, you're going to have a 10mm bolt. You're going to undo that. Then you're going to go ahead and undo the one underneath, which is going to be the same thing. Pop the cover, undo that, and then you can go ahead and simply pull this entire handle off. That is going to give you access to the wires here. So this is going to be the same on the driver's side. To remove the upper panel, very simple, just simply pull down. So if you have that released, it's going to pull down a bit, and you can pop it all the way down and run the wires, and then just simply reinstall it. You're just going to push that back up, and as well, just push that back on and reinstall it. Very simple for those panels. The other wire that is going to run through the front here is actually your GPS antenna. We've actually gone ahead and mounted it right here. So for the wire for this, it pretty much runs just up the A-pillar, across the upper panel, and then out behind the mirror. So pretty similar to the wiring for the power. The wire that is going to be a lot different is the camera wire. So the camera wire has to run to the back of the vehicle. So what we did here is we actually went ahead and, well, actually, let me flip over to the other side door to show you this a little bit better. So for the camera wire, again, you're going to run across here, and then once you get to the top of the A-pillar, what you're going to end up doing is running the camera wire in behind this panel here. To access it, you're just simply going to undo these two screws, and then you can pull it down and run the wire. You're then going to tuck the wire in around this pillar here, which is your B pillar, and going to do the exact same thing on the rear door. So you're going to go here, undo these screws here, run the cords, and then bring it around to about this location. From here, you can decide whether you want to run it to your spare tire or outside license plate. If you're going to do that, you're going to simply just follow the roll bar all the way down. If not, you're going to do what I did, and to show that, let's flip to the rear cargo space. To mount the camera in the rear, all we did was simply, after going through those panels, we come up and run along the edge of the hardtop. This is the Sky One Touch hardtop, so I have this black bar here that I was able to run to. If you have a regular hardtop, you're probably just going to stick it to the corner. You're going to run it along, and then you're going to come to the back here where you see the cord, and then you bring it and tuck it into this location. This is basically a cover that you can pop off, and it has an area to store the extra wire. All I did was simply slide it in, then fill it up there. The camera wire is a separate piece, and it's connected inside here. So then once you've got everything connected and filled in there, you just bring the camera out and mount it to the cab right here. I am using a special double-sided camera mount. It's a little different than what you get with this kit, so what comes with the kit won't work, but you will need this double-sided mount here. It's a little bit different again. Or what you can do is put on a piece, like maybe a piece of wood or a piece of plastic, and mount the camera to that coming down. I just needed the double arm so that I could clear the opening so that the camera can see out the back window. So I'm going to close this window here so you can kind of, I don't think you can see it through there, but it's located right around there. So super clean, super easy. So that is how we run the wires for this system. Now that you guys know how to run the wires on a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to mount the screen onto the factory mirror. So one thing about the Pelsee P12 Pro Max, unlike some of the other units I have, there's actually currently only one way to mount that, and that is where you're placing this over top of the factory mirror. The reason is because Pelsee uses a slightly different mounting locations, and currently there is no brackets available that will go onto the back of this so that you could replace the factory mirror. If you've watched some of my other videos, I prefer the approach where you remove the factory mirror and replace it with this screen, but this one does not have it. So at this point, I am going to show you guys this mount. What I have heard from Pelsee is that they are coming with their own mount for this system, and it should be out actually probably in the next couple of weeks. So if that becomes available, I will put the links below for you able to do that. That's going to be very simple. All you're going to do
is remove the 4 foot pads from the back of the screen. To do that, all you're going to do is press your screwdriver through the foam to access the screw, then unscrew it, and the plastic tab with the foam will fall out. After you've done that, you're then going to remove the 4 hooks by sliding them out the side. Once you have that done, we're then going to go ahead and install the new back plate. To attach the plate to the screen, all you're going to do is use the provided screws and simply screw it together. And then the last thing you need to do, which is not shown here, is you need to attach the universal ball mount to the back of the bracket, which will then give you the ability to mount the entire mirror screen system to your factory arm.
For now, because we don't have it, we're just going to show you guys this mount. So to mount this, what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 elastic bands. Again, there's 4 of them that come with this kit, and we're going to simply just clip it on to the top, just like this. So 1 and 1. Then we're going to go ahead and slide this over the factory mirror. And then on the back side, we're simply going to pull the elastics around and clip them on to the bottom. So the last 2 things we have to do to finish off this installation is first install the provided 64 gig micro SD card, and then second, connect all the wires. To install the micro SD card, all you're going to do is turn the mirror down. Then with the logo of the micro SD card facing you, you're simply going to slide it into the micro SD port. You're going to push down until you feel it click. Once it clicks, it will stay in the port. Then you're going to take the 3 wires and start connecting them. You do have to remember there are 2 USB-Cs, but the USB-C with the larger port is the rear camera, and that's going to be the first one on the far right. You're going to plug that in. Then we're going to take the GPS unit, which is in the middle. We're going to plug that in. And then we're going to go ahead and plug the final USB-C port in, which is the power one. Once we get that connected, the system should boot up. Takes a few seconds just to get the power. See the noises there.
Please format the card.
And then we're ready to get into the setup steps. So that means we can actually go ahead and remove the screen protector. Now that the system has fired up, let's simply go ahead and discover the features together about this system. So the first thing it's going to ask you when you plug it in and you've just installed the micro SD card for the first time is it's actually going to ask you in the middle for whether you want to format the SD card. It's going to have a yes or no button. All you do is hit yes, and then it formats it, and then it's complete. After that, it's going to bring you to this view, which is the split view. On the split view, we have a few things showing up top. We have our recording red dot with the time, so that indicates it is recording, and in the segments. Over here, we have a watermark thing, which has like GPS lines with the northwest direction. It has your speed, time, and date. Hopefully I can remove that because I'm not a super fan of that, but that is there. So this is the split view where you have the front view and the rear view on the right. If you swipe, it flips so that you have the rear on one side and the front on the right. So it flips it around. If you do it one more time, it flips to your front view. And if you swipe again, it takes you to the back view. You can also swipe the other direction to go back and forth. So it is nice that you can choose which way you want to go. So in here, we have some other options. So when you click on the button, or I guess, let me go to the front view. When you click on or back view, when I click on the back view and you click in the menu, you have these 2 sliding bars on each side. This bar over here is to adjust the angle of the camera. So if you open it and it's too low, you can actually level it out with the arrows. Some of the other designs have, some of the other models out there have slides. This one obviously doesn't have a slide, which is okay because I don't mind the press button. It gives you an exact location where to press. On this side, you have the same type of thing, but it's for brightness. So if you click down, you can reduce the brightness of it. So yeah, those features are there. If we go back to this split view, when you're in this menu, we have a few other things showing up. At the top, we have 4K plus 2K resolution. Then at the top, we have a timestamp for the video. Over here, we have a wireless button, which indicates no wireless is engaged. We have a GPS, which looks like it's engaged. We have a micro SD card and a green dot. I'm not sure what the green dot is, but basically that's just small indications. Bottom here, you have voice commands, which this system does have voice commands. You could say, show front camera.
The front camera's view is displayed.
You can say, show rear camera.
The rear camera's view is displayed.
So little cool features in there. I'm sure there's more options for you available, but I didn't get into that. If we go back to the split view, click on here again. At the bottom, we get options. So we have a home button. We're going to click on that in a few minutes because that's going to take us to a whole home section. But here you have a microphone where if you click that, it will mute whether the video is recording your voice or not. So we'll leave that on because who knows, why not? In the middle here, you have a camera button. If you click that, it takes a photo of both the front and the back at the same time. And then it puts it into your files. We also have a recording section here, where if you press that, it stops the recording. If you press it again, it turns it on. And then here, you have the option to create a locked video. Basically, a locked video, if you click it, it's recording a locked video. What this does is it protects the video from being overwritten. Because basically with the normal recordings, they overwrite each other over a certain time. But if you do a locked one, that will forever stay in your files until you delete it. So that's one option. To disengage the lock, you just click it. I think, how did I get the click? Yes, you just hit the unlock and then it'll tell you if you want to stop recording. So yes, we want to stop looking at this. So the next thing we want to do is go to the home section. So
recording stop.
Click on the home section. This is the screen you come out with. I have to say, really clean, simple, easy to understand. If you click the smart drive-in section, this is where we have all the collision detection systems that they offer. ADAS is basically just notifying you of a bunch of stuff. Actually, I'm kind of unfamiliar what these were, even though we went into that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of them and show you exactly what they are. But for now, we'll just cover them. Here you have calibrate, you have on off, you have settings, you have BDS, which is blind spot monitoring. So that will let you know that. And then lane departure. So 3 different settings here, which we will cover when we get into testing these. After that, we have our file explorer section. We click on that. That's going to open up all of our files section. So you can see everything we've just been playing around with, taking photos. We have our front normal, our front EMR, which I think is the locked videos. We have our front photos, back normal videos, back lock videos, and back photos. From in here, you can also go ahead and I believe they allow you to, no, they don't allow you to delete anything in here. So that's interesting. So you can't delete anything from the screen, but I'm sure you can do that from the app that we are also going to show you guys. What does this button do over here? So if I click that, oh, that does, never mind. You can delete things. So if we're not a fan of these buttons, we just click that button, we click here, and then we can go and hit delete the file and delete it. If we want to lock it, we can actually click here and go to check mark. Oh, actually, check mark just selects all of them, but then we can delete. So you can't change anything to a locked video or locked file, but you can delete it using this setting. So cool little features in there. Then we come back to the home screen. At the bottom here, we have a dash cam button. If we click that, it takes us back to a dash cam and record and start again. If we go back to the home screen, we get into the camera settings. In here, we have a bunch of options. Video resolution. If we click in here, we can choose what we want the video resolution to be. I believe this is only for the front camera. Right now, we're going to leave it on 4K, but you do have the option for 1080p and 2.5K. After that, we have video length. So this is the length of the video recordings. What I'm actually going to do is turn this up to 2. Actually 3. I'm just gonna leave it at 3. No, 2. 2 actually. Leave it at 2. That's usually a good medium. After that, we have frequency. We want to leave this at 60 Hz, whatever that hertz or whatever. Then we have G settings. This is where you can set the amount when the vehicle feels a shake. It goes into a protective recording. Because I drive a Jeep, I'm going to put this in low because medium is too sensitive for the Jeep Wrangler with the 40-inch tires. Then we got parking monitoring in here. So one thing to note about parking monitoring, you do need the hardwire kit or the OBD2 plug-in. So right now we have the hardware kit. So we are going to turn this on to parking monitoring. This is your sensors. And because it's parked, I actually wanted to record if something happens around the vehicle, like getting hit. So we're going to put that at medium. Then we have time-lapse recording. This is your 24-hour time-lapse recording. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this up to, this is kind of the speed, I guess you can have it at. I'm going to put this at time-lapse recording 1. It means that it is going to record for a long period of time, which is going to take up, it's going to be slower speed, but it will take up a little bit more memory. So that's one thing to note there. Then we have time-lapse duration. Oh, this is interesting because originally I said it only had up to 24 hours, but you can actually choose if you wanted to do it for 48 hours or 72. We're going to leave it on 24 because really that's good enough for now. Maybe if I was doing a long trip, I might want to change it. That is there. Audio recording, we can choose whether we want that on or off from here. Timestamp. So I wanted to turn this off. I'm curious if that turned off the one on the home screen now. Let's click that, go back and check that out.
Recording started.
Let's see, once we get off this camera, let's see if the timestamp is there. No, that is still on, so maybe that's the system, but timestamp might be just in the video recording.
Recording stopped.
Let's go to camera settings. The last one we have is rear view options. So here you can do no change. You can mirror it. So right now it is mirrored, which seems right on my screen. And then if you flipped your camera, you could actually flip it over. Well, for now, we're all good. So I don't need to change anything on that. That looks like it's it for here. If we go to system settings, here we can set our default view. So we do want to have a default view and we want it to be the rear. So every time it will turn on, it will always be the rear camera. In here, we have volume settings. This is where we can turn up the volume. I'm actually going to turn this off because I hate the noises. So we don't need that. So now no more noises, which is great. Boot up sound, we're going to turn that off. I don't want the thing making a noise when it boots up. Touch sound, well, that's off because the sound's off anyway, so you're not hearing that. Auto power off. This is basically a feature only without the card inserted. So it will auto power off after a certain amount of time. We're just going to leave that as off for now. I don't need it to auto power off. Auto screen off. So this is a system where if you want to use the screen as a mirror, you can actually have it turn back to a mirror at 1 minute. So that's your choice, or you can have it do it turn. I actually want to keep my screen on, mainly due to the fact that I am driving a Jeep and, you know, I want to see the back, not see my spare tire through the mirror. So we're going to leave that as off. Then we got speed units. We can choose whether we want miles per hour or kilometer. We have adjustment, speed adjustment. I guess this, oh, this is cool. You can adjust if you know you're slightly off. So that's something interesting. We definitely should play with that sometime. Maybe, I don't know if we need to, but that's something we could test out. Languages, you can obviously pick your languages if you need one. Time zone, you can pick your time zone. I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I actually don't know if it's right, but we'll just leave it. Voice controls. So this is where you can put your sensitivity. So if you feel it's not working high enough, you might wanna turn it up. Maybe might be something we do. Let's turn it up just because we are in the Jeep and maybe it doesn't hear us. So let's put it as high. Select voice alerts. We want male or female. We're going to leave it at female. We can scroll down with this one because there is more options. There is a show speed and time. This is what I don't want on the screen. So we're going to turn that off. And if we go back, this should turn off the speed on the main screen when it turns here. What happened there? So yes, we no longer have the show speed here, which I really like on that. So let's go back to the home. So that was exactly what we were looking for. GPS information. I guess that's information just to show you how your GPS is working. Not bad. F frequency, you can decide to turn it up. We're going to keep it at the high when we do want to use it. Information for the FM, this is how we can connect our phone to that. I will show you guys that in a bit, but for now, let's just continue on here. Time and date settings is where you can set the time and date if it's not connected to the GPS. You can usually just use the GPS, but this is another option as well. Format, this is where you can format your card if you needed to. We're just going to do no for now. Then you have version information. If you want to find out what information you have contact support. And then the last thing is factory reset if you wanted to factory reset the system. So we're going to hit no on that. So that is pretty much everything in terms of the features for this system. So now what we're going to show you guys is the mobile app. So what you need to do is simply go into the home screen, then go to system settings, I believe. Was it system settings? Yeah, system settings. You're going to hit Wi-Fi information, and then you're going to go press on. That is going to turn the Wi-Fi on for the system. You're then going to go ahead and open up your Pelsee Cam app on your phone. Open that up. It's going to ask you if you want to log in. You can decide to do that or not. I'm just going to hit skip. Then you're going to go into your device settings. You can see here it's showing my P12 Plus, but I have a new one, so let's click the new one. It's going to say to power that on. It's going to say connect to Wi-Fi. I hit connect Wi-Fi. It's going to open up my internet. We're going to see car letter one. Nope, we're going to see, there we go. We got our P12 Pro Max. We're going to see the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We enter that. It's connected. Then we're going to go back to our app. It's going to start connecting to it. Then it sends it connected. Then your app is going to open up. And in there, you're going to have a live view of the front of the camera. You can see my hand there because that's the live view of the front camera. You can switch the camera by hitting the next button there. So switches to the rear one. Then goes back to the front one. You can also do mute, unmute, so it doesn't record any sound. And you can also change the orientation in your system. If you want to look at your whole screen, you click this button, and then we can turn our phone and see the full view, or we can click it back to go back to the regular view. What's really cool, and I will show this a little bit when we're doing some driving, is it does show you and does track the GPS information. So you can actually see the speed you're going, the current altitude, the total altitude, and the accelerated speed. Right now, we're not moving, so it's not showing anything. So really cool there. If at the bottom we have our memory card section, if we click the memory card, it's going to open up. This is going to take us to our file section. In here, we're going to see all of the looped videos that we've taken. So whenever it's recording, it's showing everything right here. You can also see snapshots, which are photos for the front and rear, and then you can see your locked videos as well. From here, you can also select things, select the item. You can either download it to your phone, take a screenshot, or delete it by hitting the delete button. From here, you can also switch to the next videos, so you don't actually have to jump around. You can switch along to see different sections of different videos. So lots of features you can do there from there. It's really cool that you can download it directly through your phone without having to take out the micro SD card. Next thing, buttons you have is pause video, so you can actually stop the recording. So the recording's paused, and then you can resume it. You can also go ahead and take a photo from it. So you click it, and it will think, takes a capture of both the front and the rear, I believe. Then in here, we also have settings. Click on the settings, and we pretty much get all the same settings that were available in the system settings for this system. So pretty much the same: sound recording, speaker volume, resolution, you can change that, loop duration, 24-hour clock. Well, that wasn't in there, but 24-hour clock. So you can actually change it to a 24-hour clock if you wanted to. Collision detection, speed units, sensitivity, frame rate, time-lapse recording, Wi-Fi name. You can actually change the name in here, so I can change it to whatever I need to if needed. So that's a cool feature there. Yeah, lots of cool settings in that section. Well, guys, hopefully you do have a good understanding of the basic features that are available for the screen and the mobile app for the P12 Pro Max. The reason I call these the basic features is because everything we pretty much showed you right now is pretty much standard with the majority of the rear view mirror dashcam systems that exist in the market, especially the high-end ones. But there is some unique things about the P12 Plus, and I'm going to cover those. But before I do that, I do want to give a little shout out to Pelsee about their basic features, because their UI and navigation are super clean and easy to use. They did a really good job on this system. Everything was smooth, easy, there was no glitches. I do feel that the UI in this one is a lot better than the UI that was in the P12 Plus, which is exciting because it shows that they have been watching my video or some of the other review videos out there and making some changes to improve their products for their consumers. So it's really exciting to see that they are continuously making their products better. Also along that lines, I do want to mention that their mobile app seems to be a little bit better now. When I first used it with the P12 Plus, it seemed a little bit glitchy, but with the P12 Pro Max, there was no issues whatsoever. It was super smooth and went seamless, and it did everything I needed. So excited to see that they've improved their UI and their mobile app. As for the unique features, I am going to show them to you guys, and this is going to include the smart driving feature, the image resolution, and their full color night vision. But that is not going to be right now, because right now what I actually need to do is pause this video so that I can finish up the vehicle. I'm then going to jump in it, take it for some test drives so that I can capture some content to share with you guys of both the smart driving app, the image quality of the rear and the front camera in both the day and the night, and just simply get a good understanding of what this system is going to do before I give you guys my overall thoughts and opinions. So for now, I'll pause in this video and I'll see you guys in a bit to show you guys some image quality of the cameras. Well, guys, we're back. Yes, it has been a little bit more than the couple days that I originally intended since we last installed the system. It's actually been more like a couple weeks. As you can see, made some major changes, shaved off the beard. But because it has been 2 weeks, I've had a lot of time to test this system out. And the reason it actually was more than intended was because I actually ran into a small issue. The issue actually had nothing to really do with the system. What it actually had to do with the way I mounted the rear camera. What happened is with this camera, because it is such a larger camera, it is actually a little bit heavier. And with the way I have the camera mounted in the back of the Jeep with the arm hanging down, unfortunately, the camera seemed to vibrate a little bit and it caused the image to shake. What you had to do is you actually had to pull the camera up a bit to mount it closer to the bracket so that it's a little bit more secure and there is no vibration. This was something that took me some time to figure out. I thought originally it was the system. I worked with Pelsee to, kind of figure out if it was. They actually sent me a new camera, but it turned out all it was the way I mounted it. So if you do want to mount the camera on the inside of your hardtop, you do need to make sure that it's tight up against the, that hardtop itself so that it stays secure. or you can actually create a bracket that's a little bit stronger and able to hold the heavier camera. But one thing to note is that in the image, you actually end up with a little black line going across it. This is actually one of the heater elements in the rear window. So this is not in the camera itself or the image. It actually has to do with the window. So if I don't have it, you don't have that line. So in the future, I'm probably going to figure out a bracket that's a little bit stronger so I can move it down so that it goes between the two black lines. But for now, we're going to have to show it like this. As you guys just saw with the clips of the front and back camera in both the day and the night, I have to say the image quality of the system is definitely up there. You can tell the front facing camera is definitely a 4K camera. The rear camera is a 2.5 resolution camera. At night, wow. The rear facing camera with this new night vision, full color night vision technology is super amazing. Not only do you not get any headlight glaring or flaring, but you also can see all the colors behind your vehicle. So you can actually make out the vehicles that are driving up behind you. I'm really impressed by this system. They said it was going to be a lot better, but I honestly didn't expect it to be this good. The front facing camera at night, obviously amazing as well. So these cameras, top of the line. This system is definitely worth paying for just because of the way that rear view camera functions. Now that we've taken a look at the image quality, what we're going to go ahead and do is show you some clips of the smart driving feature. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the first settings you have available, which if we click into here, go to smart driving, we're going to have the ADAS. So let's go ahead and turn that on, and then let's take a look at how this functions.
ADAS stands for Advanced Driver Assistance System. And in this Pelsee system, basically what this does is tracks objects in front of the vehicle. As you can see here on the screen, it is tracking the vehicles in front of it by outlining them in a square box. This square box changes colors and indicates the distance that the object is actually from the vehicle. This is used to trigger certain warnings, one warning being collision detection, the other one being following too close. Another one, which actually doesn't track on the vehicles, is actually lane departure, which tracks the lines on the ground. And the final warning it actually offers is it actually has the ability to track pedestrians to warn you of possible collisions with them.
The last thing I want to show you about the ADAS system is you also have some options for some settings. Basically, in here, it lists out all the different collision warnings that are available. You have your forward collision, your pedestrian collision, your lane departure warnings, your front vehicle startup warning, and your too close warning. All of these were in what I just showed you. It just, certain things showed up, certain things didn't. But in here, you basically have the ability to adjust the sensitivity of all of them. You can make them low sensitivity, you can turn them completely off, or you can make them high. We'll just leave everything at medium, but you have the same options for the pedestrian collision, the lane departure, the front vehicle startup warning, and the too close warning. So all of those have the ability to adjust the sensitivity. You also have the option to adjust the sound, basically turn it on or off. You can have it off if you don't want sound warnings, or you can have it on. You also have the option to choose whether you have those color frames appearing and the alert icons. So if you just want the image to be there with some sound indications, you can easily turn that off and have it like that, or you can keep it on so it shows all those markings. The last thing to tell you or show you guys about the ADAS system is how to calibrate. Basically when you press that, you're going to go into this screen. What you need to do is it shows you here what you need to do. It states you need to get that red or that green X centered on your vehicle. So say when I open it up, my angles over there, all you have to do is go to the little camera on the back of this and just line it up to the center of the vehicle at the horizon. So that should be good. Very simple calibration. There's no automatic tools. It's just a simple manual process. So the next smart driving feature that we're going to take a look at is the BSD. First, we're going to go ahead and turn off the ADAS. We're going to then go ahead and turn on the BSD.
BSD is the blind spot detection system that's available in this Rearview Mirror Dashcam system. Basically, what this system does is it utilizes the rear-facing camera to track the distance of the vehicles behind you. This is used to trigger different alerts like possible collisions or possibly the fact that someone may just be following too close behind you or in your blind spot.
For the BSD system, the settings available on here are very minor. You have your alert sound, which is basically where you can turn that on or off. You also have the color frame and alert icons, similar to the last one, turn that on and off. The one thing that's different here is the speed threshold. My understanding of what this is basically you can choose what speed you want the system to turn on or to work at. So basically, if you only wanted the blind spot monitoring to work above 28 miles per hour, you could simply set it there. If you want it to be higher, you could set it there. Lower. For me, I just keep it on 6 so that it always turns on at above 6 miles per hour. So basically gives you a customization option there. The last thing to show you is the calibration. Similar to the other one, this is a manual process as well. Basically, what you need to do is go to the back camera and kind of set it up manually. I'm not going to do that because I would require going to the back, but for now, I'm slightly off, but I'm okay with that. Also over here, they have your sensitivity level. Basically, the higher the sensitivity, the more frequent the alerts. So we're just going to keep that at medium, which is what we showed you guys that as last. The last smart driving feature that we're going to take a look at is the LCA. So we'll just turn that on, turn off the BSD, and then let's go take a look at how this system performs.
LCA is the lane changing assist smart driving feature. This feature is very similar to the blind spot detection system. The only difference is this system is used to help you make safe lane changes. What it does is it actually creates these tracking zones on the sides of the rear of the vehicle that basically can indicate if a vehicle is in those boxes and lets you know if it is safe to make a lane change. As you can see, what it does is it projects these large green boxes on the screen, which again, you can turn off this animation, but if you have this animation on, it leaves these green boxes there. And if a vehicle enters them, it turns red, and then the system will indicate that a vehicle is passing on that side. This is basically designed to let you know that it is unsafe to make a lane change in that direction because there's a vehicle passing on that side.
For the lane changing assist, in the settings, we have 3 settings here, which are the same as what was shown in the blind spot detection system. You have your alert sounds, your lane changing threshold. This is a little bit different. It's higher than the last one. The last one, lowest one was 6. The lowest one in this one is 19, and the highest is 70 miles per hour. We'll leave this on 19 just so that we have it there, and that's what we showed there. And then, of course, color, frame, and alert icons. For the calibration on this one, when we click on this, similar thing, it's a manual process. Basically, when you adjust your camera to set it, you're going to get it in the right place. And then here you have the sensitivity. So very similar to the blind spot detection system. So the last thing I want to mention about the smart driving feature is that unlike the Pelsee P12 Plus that I previously reviewed, with this system, you can actually run all 3 of the settings at the same time, where with the P12 Plus, you can only choose one or the other, where with this one, you can run all 3 of them. So let's take a look at how the system performs when you have all 3 running at the same time. as you just saw, the smart driving features in the system are pretty impressive and can definitely be a very useful tool to have. For myself, I'm probably not going to turn on these features, mainly due to the fact that I feel that the features are good, but I feel like they're going to be a little bit of a distraction for myself. Look, I feel, whether people agree with me on this, I feel that I'm a pretty good driver and I'm pretty aware of what's going on around my vehicle. I think this probably has to do with the fact that I did drive a motorcycle for 4 years. So I'm always kind of aware of what's going on around the vehicle, and I don't feel that I need these assisting warnings. That being said, I know that in, driving in the world, there are a bunch of drivers that are either not good drivers or, a little bit of a space cadets. And these warnings would be very useful for them to be using, because it would definitely help them avoid situations where they could potentially damage their vehicle or potentially harm themselves or others. So the features in this are really cool, and for the right person, they're actually going to be very useful. One thing I do want to mention about these features is in this system, I found they performed a little bit better than they did in the Pelsee P12 Plus. So if you have used one of their previous models, the P12 Plus or the P12 Pro, and you've had experience with their smart driving feature and you didn't really like it, I would say throw that experience out the window, because what they've done in this seems to run a little bit smoother than those systems. And I think it's, optimized. It really works really well in this one. That probably has to do with the processing rate in this. So maybe the way they've built this has the ability to actually perform the way it should. Also, what's really cool is in this one, you do have the ability to run all three at the same time. So that's a really nice feature, where with the other, you kind of had to choose which one you wanted. Speaking of kind of configuring this, what I really like about this system is the way they give you the ability to customize the smart driving features. You can choose whether you want them to make noises, whether you want them to display the color frames or the icons. It's just really nice that you have the ability to fully customize it to make it perform the way you want and also work for your vehicle. On some vehicles, you're going to want to have it set up differently than others. Overall, guys, pretty impressed by the smart driving features. Now that we've gone ahead and covered the installation, we've showed you the features and functionality the system has to offer, we've taken a look at the image quality and covered the smart driving features, pretty much time to wrap this video up. If you're in the market for a rear view mirror dashcam systems, I highly suggest that you do not be cheap about this. If you buy one of the cheaper options out there, the rear cameras, which has been a major issue with a lot of the systems out there, are going to be poor at night. You're going to get a lot of headlight flaring, which will make it very distractive in the screen. And in fact, some of them you can't even see out the back of the screen. So, you don't want to buy one of those cheap ones because it's not going to perform the way you want. Where with this one and the Sony Starvis camera that it has in it, the image quality at night was phenomenal. I was super surprised at how it performed. Also, what's unique about this one is their full color night vision. Those two combined, the night vision and the camera, made it super nice to drive at night. You could see the vehicles. It wasn't super blinding. Everything was super clean. So really impressed by the night features. The craftsmanship of the screen, obviously great. Pelsee does a great design of that. The front-facing camera was amazing. The recording abilities, the UI in this system, everything about this system makes it one of the best systems that I would recommend for anybody in the market for one of these. So if you are interested in getting more details about this or picking one up for yourself, what I will do is put the link below for this product so you can go check it out. If you have any questions or comments about anything I've shown in today's video, feel free to comment below and I'll do the best to answer it. If you enjoyed today's video and found it very useful, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you can, hit that hype button. The hype button is a new feature that YouTube just added. Basically, when you click this button, it gives my video the ability to get into kind of a promotion thing where it gets exposed to some new viewers. And that means I'm gonna get more views, and hopefully more views means more videos I can make for you guys. And to wrap today's video up, keep evolving, and we'll see you guys on the next video.